Anyway, what I just wanted to see is that this was difficult for them as a whole, just like it continues to be difficult for many people to understand today. So in light of all this difficulty, the big question is why? Why would God give this commandment that seemed to wedge between Joseph and Emma and so many others, past, present, and future? Well, I think section 132 is our best source for trying to understand it. In section 132, the Lord says something like, the Lord commanded it. He says that multiple times. He says, I commanded it, section 132, verse 35, also verse 37 to 39. Like, let's remember the relationship here. I am God, and I am commanding you to enter into this. He says the phrase, I am the Lord thy God, 8 times in this section, more than any other section of the Doctrine and Covenants that I've ever seen. It's almost like the Lord is reestablishing that He gives the law and that He is the lawgiver. And that one of the reasons why, as He says in 132, why did Abraham enter into it? I commanded him. Why did Moses? I commanded it as a whole. And the Lord is the lawgiver as a whole. Second reason why did the church practice plural marriage in the early church? It may have been part of Joseph's appointment to restore all things, including for some and for a brief period of time, the practice in the Old Testament of plural marriage. It's likely that Joseph learned about plural marriage or had questions on it and got his first revelations about it while he was translating the Bible between 1830 and 1833. There are 2 times in section 132 that the Lord says to Joseph that he has an appointment or that he restores all things. That's in verse 40 and verse 45. The third potential reason why is to multiply and replenish the earth according to my commandment. That's section 132, verse 63. Or maybe using a Book of Mormon phrase in Jacob 2:30, to raise up seed unto God. Now, to be blunt, a woman in a polygamous marriage statistically often bore less children than a woman in a monogamous marriage, and a woman can only bear so many children. So it's not that it led to a woman having more children necessarily in a polygamous marriage than she would in a monogamous marriage. So I don't think we're getting at things numerically necessarily. What they seem to be getting at is at the type of marriage and the type of child that we're raised up in raising up seed unto God. This is a later recollection, and it's a second-hand report, so bear that in mind. But Mosiah Hancock remembered that his father, Levi Hancock, said that Joseph taught him as early as the spring of 1832, Brother Joseph said, Brother Levi, the Lord has revealed to me that it is His will that righteous men shall take righteous women, even a plurality of wives, that a righteous race may be sent for upon the earth. In other words, men and women who have offered all, dedicated all, consecrated all, and are obedient to all. What kind of families and what kind of children do they raise up? Children who carry similar beliefs and practices as well. It is not, I want to be clear, those 3 reasons, and I get that they're probably not sufficient, but those are 3 reasons that I see section 132 saying. I want to be clear that it is not because there were more women than men in the church. It is not because all the men died on the plains as they came west. As a matter of fact, census records in Utah show that there were more men of marriageable age than women in Utah. And logically, by the way, plural marriage, maybe I'll talk about this in a future video, wasn't for everybody and meant for everybody for a long-standing period of time. Logistically, that can't be the case with an equal number of men and women. Some statistics say that there were maybe 1 out of every 4 adults during the Utah period when it was practiced the most who entered into plural marriages. And about 2/3 of the men who married into plural marriage married 1 additional wife. Then that practice ceased, as I've mentioned, at the turn of the century in 1900.